Well, it's a glorious Easter weekend, and what better thing to do than refurb your alloy wheels. The alloys on the A2, on first inspection they look pretty good, pretty tidy, but the closer you got the worse they actually were. And there's a lot of carbon just round the outside, which was just enough to spoil them. And the insides were pretty pitted as well, and there's a lot of marks, you know, where the weights had been, which needed tidying up. So it's a heck of a job. So over the Easter weekend I'm just going to do them one at a time, one per day, and I done the first one yesterday, got it all prepared, and I've just got the edge to prime. Before I do the other three, and then spray them all in silver. So this is all the equipment ready. I've got an assortment of equipment here, and I use 120 grit, Scotch-Brite pad, a little Dremel to get into the smaller areas, wire brush and the drill, and the sander. And the curbing marks, I just fill them with ordinary P38 filler. It seems to do the job. So the first job is to get this rubber sealer off, and you can't use a power tool on it because it just melts the rubber. So I just use a combination of the wire brush and finish off with some sandpaper. Because I'm fitting new valves, I'll cut the old valve off. Push it through the hole. Now that I've run round that with the sandpaper, I'm going to run round it with the wire brush on the drill, just to smooth all this off and make it better for sealing when you put the new tyre on. So for the inside of the wheel, bloody noisy things. So on the inside of the wheel I use a combination of a scraper to get the rubber glue off where the weights were, my Dremel to get into these bits. Get into these bits here, clean them, and my drill with a wire brush in it to clean this bit here and inside the wheel bore, and also around here and these bits down here. It takes a bit of time, but you've just got to put the time and effort in, and the more time and effort you put in, the better the result. finish off with a bit of Scotch-Brite. Cry me a river, cry me a river, I cried a river for you. The final sand round the rim. The inside done. I've just got to clean out the dirt now. We'll move on to the front, and I'll just use a flat sander for this. Although it doesn't look too bad, there's still sort of cuts and scratches and imperfections on it, so I'll just run over it with it. You don't know. So that's it all rubbed down. And before I put filler in these bits, I'm going to give it a good wash. All nice and clean now. So although this wheel isn't actually too bad, there's still some sort of scratches and indentations in the rim, and I don't really want to rub it down any further. So I'm just going to apply a little bit body filler in these bits, P38. You can actually get proper alloy wheel filler, but our local Halfords closed during the pandemic, and it's a 60-mile round trip to the nearest place to get this stuff. And it's the same with the primer. I was going to prime it with etch primer, but I'll just have to prime it with ordinary primer. I've done it before and it's been fine. So I'll fill all these in, let it dry, and rub them down in a minute. So that's the second one done, and I'm quite pleased with the finish. I've got it quite good on the outside. The inside is okay. So I've got another two to do before I put the final coat on. That's them all rubbed down, primed, and I've rattle canned the solver on the inside, just left the outside in primer, and I'm going to spray paint the silver on and spray paint the lacquer on. There's just a little bit of imperfection here which I've got to sort out, but there's no denying if you're doing it by hand it's a lot of work, and it's taken me the best part of 2 days to get them to this stage, and then another half a day to get them sprayed and lacquered. But the more time you spend in them, the better the finish is going to be. That's him done, and I've just had the new tyres put on and balanced, and I'm quite happy with them. They're done to a good standard, but not as good as a professional sort of wheel refurbisher. So I got 3 new tyres for it because one of the tyres that were on it was in good condition anyway, and I bought these other 3 to match, and they're just budget tyres, but they'll do for me because I'm not going around at 100 miles an hour everywhere. But we'll see what they're like in the wet because they were B rated. But overall, I'm quite happy. That's them on now, and the last thing is I've got these new centre caps off eBay to put on. Well, that took a bit of time to do. They were really tight. You could tell they were from eBay. So that's them all on now. So I'm going to take it out, get a few photos, and price it all up for you. The summer wheels back on, and all we need now is a summer. It's absolutely Baltic here. So I have a few projects lined up for the A2, so please come back, subscribe, and we'll see you very soon.